Stories are universal language, something that anybody can understand. Stories stimulate imagination, passion, and it can create a sense of community between readers, listeners, and even the creators. Story selling is simply using stories to sell your product or service. It puts a human angle, puts an emotional angle to the traditional way of just selling. In this video, I want to talk about story selling. I want to talk about why it's important to tell stories when trying to sell a product or a service or yourself. And I also talk about how you can infuse effortlessly, seamlessly, and effectively infuse storytelling in your sales strategy. Itimi, and I'm passionate about growing people and growing businesses, and that's what I try to do on this channel. I create videos on business, branding, growth, marketing, and also about life, inspirational stuff. So if this is your first time coming to my channel, please click on the button below to subscribe. Also, there's a bell button there, click on it so you're notified every time I release a video, which is, most times at least once every week. Like I said in introduction, story selling is simply the act of using stories to sell your product or service or yourself. It connects people to people as against a faceless corporation or a startup idea to followers or just target audience. It makes your brand more relatable. Something interesting is to note is that stories, not products, not services, are what spread from people to people. Stories are the ideas that would seamlessly spread from people to people. They are the things that people find more easier to share and to actually engage with on a day-to-day basis. Why is story selling very important? The first thing is because it helps you build rapport with your users. It goes beyond just you telling them that you have this product or service that has this benefit or these features, to actually making sure that there's room for conversation and engagement on an even more personal level with your users. 2, stories invoke emotion. If you want to sell, if you want to get people to buy your product and service, especially at the price that you want them to buy, that you set, then you need to be able to invoke their emotions. You need to get them to buy into the product emotionally. You need to get them to connect with what you're trying to sell. They need to feel and think that if they don't buy from you, if they don't use this product, if they don't use your service, that something is going to be wrong with their life, literally. So you need to be able to invoke emotion so people can see themselves. There's a quote I like so much that says that people buy into extensions of themselves, meaning that people are not just buying product or service, they're buying things, right? Or using things or connecting with people that resonate with them on a deep level, that sort of seamlessly connects to who they are or what they want to be. It's not just a functional need, but also an emotional need or a social need, that if I get this product or I use this service, I will belong, or I'll be able to, talk a different way, or it will make me feel better, or make me feel good, or make me look good. But there's always something personal, right? If I can't find a personal reason to buy, I most likely will never buy. And with stories, you can evoke emotions. Another thing that stories do is that they solidify abstract concepts and they simplify complex messages. In other words, stories make selling easy. You don't have to list out the benefits. You don't have to list out the features. If you can show me a story, if you can break it down and simplify it make it bare minimum, but in a creative and relatable way, I would totally understand your message. And once I understand your message, I can connect. And once I connect, I most likely would buy. Now, when you're thinking about creating stories to sell, one of the questions you ask is, what makes a great story? 4 key things. 1, great stories incite emotions. I already said that. If your story can make me think or feel differently, if it doesn't make me want to laugh, to cry, if it doesn't make me feel inspired, motivated, angry, if it doesn't make me feel, it's not gonna work. It's not even a story. 2, great stories are universal. So regardless of who says it, they should be able to connect in some way, right? And then 3, great stories are relatable. Again, people buy into extensions of themselves. I want to be able to see myself in that story that you've created, in that story, in that idea they are trying to sell. And 4, great stories are memorable. If I can't remember it, if I can't tell somebody else about this ad or this person that I met, then it's not memorable. Now, what are the key things that you want to pay attention to when trying to story sell? 2 key things, first of all. Your target audience, and 2, your core message. These are the 2 things that you must get right, even before the concept, before you start talking about, your storyboard, the script. The 2 essential ingredients you need is knowledge of your target audience and knowing what your core message is. The target audience, simply understand who you are selling to, understand their why, their how, their why. Why? What is their pain point? Why would they want to buy from me? What is their buying motivation? What will make them make a buying decision? 2, what is their how? How do they want to be sold to? How would they connect to me? How would I reach them? 3, where are they? How do I make sure that I'm creating this piece of content to meet them at the right place and at the right time? And then your core message. What exactly do I want to say? What is my core narrative? What is the end goal? It has to be crystal clear to me. If you don't know what your core message is, what your narrative is, what your end goal is, what your clear CTA, call to action, would be, there's no way your target audience will understand it. So know it first, and you're going to be able to communicate it better to them. Understand this, that stories allow us to lie to ourselves, and those lies satisfy who we are. This is something that Seth Godin totally agrees with him in his book, that all marketers are liars. All marketers tell stories, right? So stories let us lie to ourselves, and those lies satisfy our desires. If your customers have everything that they need, there's nothing left to buy except stuff that they want. And the reason they buy stuff they want is because of the way it makes them feel, right? People want to feel stuff, and that feeling would trigger them to put money on the table. That desire, that feeling would actually invoke desire, and that desire is what you want to be able to leverage on to get them to give you whatever amount of money or to make transactions with your product or your service. Make them feel, and then they can desire, and they can convince themselves that they desire this product or service that you need. Like literally, if you tell stories, I will tell myself that I need it, even if I don't. And that's a lie, but it's a lie that allows me to feel good because I'm putting money on the table. Now, what are key story selling strategies that you can leverage on? 1, data driven. Just because it's a story, just because it's supposed to incite emotions, doesn't mean that it shouldn't be backed up by data. Again, as long as you're doing marketing or sales or growth, it needs to be data driven in this age. So make sure that your stories are data driven. You're trying to create a concept, find research, understand, make sure that thing, that idea is backed up by research, which is research that you've understood the people, their language, their wants, their need, and then you're able to create stories that also fit into that place. So first of all, get data, do your research. 2, make your story selling, make your stories or your story selling strategies consumer focused. It is never about you. Well, maybe because of the money part, but really it's about your target audience. So consumer-led stories where people can actually see themselves or representation of who they are the ones that are most relatable and most effective when getting people to buy. 3, influencer-driven stories are amazing. You want to sell, get somebody that your target audience respect or like or connect with to talk about your product or your service. Because they like this person, they will listen, they will engage, and they would most likely buy. It's not just about getting people who are popular. No, it's about getting people who have the right who actually have your target audience as followers and who are able to infuse themselves into your brand in a way that is very subtle advertising. It looks very organic and that it works, right? Number 4, also make sure that your stories are shareable, right? It's not just again, because we're talking a bit about digital business, so online businesses. So when you create content that tells a story but also sells your product, make sure that it's something that people can easily share. Put it up on platforms that makes sharing a lot easier. This way you're expanding your reach, right? And a great way to do that is to think mobile led. How do I make sure that most of the piece of content I create to sell my product are things that people can easily consume on their mobile phones? Because if they can consume it on their mobile phone, then they can actually share it. Next thing is to make sure that you communicate your core message and that you leave a CTA in that piece of content or in that story. It is like, don't spend all the time creating this amazing script, this amazing animated video, this amazing image, this long capture, but then you forget to infuse your core message or your call to action in it. Again, we're talking story selling, not just storytelling. So for you to actually sell, you need to tell people what you are selling and you need to tell them what they need to do, which is your call to action. I hope you've learned a couple of things about using stories to sell your product or your service. If you have any questions, just comment down below and let me know. Also, just let me know if you have you want to add any other additional thoughts to what I have said. I would love to hear from you. Also, share this video to somebody, to an entrepreneur, to a marketer, to a business development person, a sales person. Just freaking share this video. Don't leave this channel without subscribing.